Lab 54, drive a nail. In this lab, the first thing we did was you wrote a procedure, step-by-step process of how you were going to do this lab, and this was turned into the teacher. In this lab, the challenge question is, how does height and mass of an object affect its gravitational potential energy? Today we're going to be working with two tubes, one short and one tall tube, and we are going to be working with 4 rods. Okay, we have a long steel rod, a long aluminum rod, a short steel rod, and a short aluminum rod. Okay, you should have a data table provided by your teacher here. If not, you can create this in your lab notebook. So what we're going to do is we're going to have 8 combinations of each tube with each rod, as it's here on this sheet. We're going to perform 3 trials because the more trials we perform, the better our data is going to be. After we perform our 3 trials, we will then find the average of the 3 trials. You add these 3 trials up, add them up, and then you will divide by 3 because we have 3 trials. So that will give you the average, and that's what we need to look about here. So what we're trying to figure out is which combination of rods and which combination of rods and tubes provide us with the most energy to the nail. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our nail, we're going to place it in a styrofoam block so that 4 centimeters of the nail is sticking out of the styrofoam block. I'm going to place, this is something we want to control and keep the same. So the next thing is we want to take the long tube and place it over the nail and hold it firmly with my hand here. I'm going to take the long steel rod, place it above the tube so that the bottom of the rod is in line with the top of the tube. I'm going to drop it, do not push it, down the tube. I'm going to hold the rod from the top. Okay, these are things that I always want to keep the same. So now I'm going to let the rod go down and hit the nail. Okay, if you notice there, the rod hit the nail and made a sound. Okay, so when we talk about energy later, about transferring all the energy into the nail, you'll take note of that sound there that it made. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to measure the centimeters that it drove it into the styrofoam block. So we started with 4 and it is now at 2 centimeters. So we had to take 4 minus 2 to get how far the nail was driven into the styrofoam block. So 4 minus 2 is going to be 2. So on your table, you're going to write 2 centimeters is how far the nail went into the styrofoam block. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is you'll have 3 more trials. Okay, and we've done this several times, and we're going to say that this is 2 centimeters again, and this is 1.8 centimeters. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take the nail in a styrofoam block in a spot that does not have a hole in it, and we're going to get this at 4 centimeters again. Okay, we're going to take our long tube and our short steel. Again, we're going to keep it at the top of keep everything at the top, the bottom of the rod at the top of the tube. Okay, we're going to drop it, do not push it. And then we're going to measure with our ruler how far it went in. And now we are at 3 centimeters. So we started at 4, we're now at 3, so it went in 1 centimeter. Okay, and again, we've done this other times. The other times I had 0.9 centimeters, and the last one I had was 1.1 centimeters. So then you'll add these 3 up and find the average. Okay, so the next combination we're going to have is the long tube with the long aluminum. Again, 4 centimeters, long tube, firmly over. Again, making sure the rod is on here. We're going to drop it, and then we're going to measure how much energy was transferred into the nail by measuring it. Okay, we're looking at 3.5 is a measurement. So this long tube, long aluminum had a 0.5 centimeter that it drove it into the styrofoam block. So again, I've done this a couple other times, 4 centimeters or 0.4 centimeters and 0.6 centimeters. So please make sure you use your units and add those up, divide by 3 to get your average. Okay, once again, take this nail, looking at 4 centimeters, do a quick adjustment there. Long tube, short aluminum, and we're gonna drop. Again, we start at 4, so we're gonna measure how far it was driven in. Okay, we're at 3.6. So this one here was 0.4 centimeters. Okay, I also got 0.3 centimeters and a 0.4 centimeters again. Okay, so those is other trials that I've done. Okay, so now we are done with the long tube and we're gonna go to the short tube and do the same thing. So find a spot in my styrofoam block that has not been used yet. 4 centimeters, short tube, long steel. Again, still holding it at the top. Okay, take it off, measure, and we're at about 3.1. So 4.4 minus 3.1 was 0.9 centimeters. I also did this 2 other times, got 0.8 centimeters and 1 centimeter. Again, add these 3 up and divide by 3 to find your average. Okay, I'm gonna keep on repeating this process using the short tube with my other combinations of my rods. So now I have the short steel rod at the top, drop it, measure. Okay, we're at about 3.2. So this one here went in 0.8 centimeters. We also did it at 0.7 centimeters and again at 0.7 centimeters. And this was done off the camera here. Okay. So 4, again, got my short tube, my long aluminum, drop it, let it hit the nail, measure this here, and now we're looking at about 3.7. We started at 4, so 3.7. So 4 minus 3.7 would be that it went in 0.3 centimeters. Again, I've done this 2 other times. I got 3.3 centimeters and 0.4 centimeters. Okay, the last one combination that I'm going to do today is the short tube with the short aluminum rod. Again, making sure this is at 4 centimeters. Taking my tube, my short aluminum. Okay, again, doing the best I can, hold it above, drop it, let it hit, transferring energy from the rod. Whoops. Transferring the rod energy to the nail, and we're at 3.9. We started at 1, or I'm sorry, we started at 4, so we're at 0.1 centimeters. Again, I've done this 2 other times. I got 0.2 centimeters and 0.2 centimeters. So we have our data collected, so now you need to find out the average for each of these. Now, when we look at the energy transfer that was provided by the rod into the nail, the combination that has the highest average is going to be the combination that gave the most energy to the nail. And the one that was the least, the lowest number on this sheet is going to be the one that provided the least amount of energy to the nail.